Let's get into the tier 5 desperation running backs. Josh, I like yours, so can we do yours first?
The only person I wasn't ready for, but let's do it.
My bad. We can do Joe.
Nope. I'm super excited about this one. So let's go ahead and let me just pull up this.
I'm excited for yours.
I have no problem pulling him up. So my desperation is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Even when it appears that Kansas City will be a running back heavy team this year, I still don't believe in CEH. Yes, he missed some games due to injuries. He missed 2 or 3 games a year, basically. But I don't even think that's his biggest problem. I think his biggest problem is the Chiefs are still kicking themselves for not drafting Jonathan Taylor or Swift in 2020. And I don't think anyone's excited about CEH. I think the good thing about CEH is he's finally being drafted where he should be drafted, i.e. the 7th, 8th round. But Ronald Jones and McKissick are going to have a role here. Draft him if you want, for sure. But
not McKissick.
You are in McKissick. Oh, not McKissick. Sorry. McKinnon.
Isaiah Pacheco.
McKinnon. And then Pacheco's getting McKinnon. My apologies. But they're both going to have a role. And then this one rookie Pacheco, I was going to get there, but Joe didn't want to let me get there.
I just love the rookies, Josh.
You are 100
man, do you?
You are 100% in desperation mode if you draft Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Or you're like, fuck it, he slipped far enough. I'll take him. I'll be that guy. But if you do, you probably have been in a coma the last 2 years because he's just not that good. And it's nothing against him. He's just not that good.
I have such a problem with what the Chiefs did this offseason. They could have had Breece Hall. They could have had, even if they couldn't got Breece Hall, they could have gotten Isaiah Spiller to be on this team. They could have gotten James Cook to be on this team. But instead, they're going to go into a season where I personally think they're going to run a lot more than people are still giving them credit for. And they've got no running back, really. So, yes, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is complete desperation. You're going to take him, and somebody's going to take him high because he's on the Chiefs. And you got a Chiefs fan. If you live in Missouri like we do, you've got a Chiefs fan in your league, and he's going to grab – or she is going to grab Clyde Edwards-Helaire way earlier than you are, and that is going to suck. But if he does make it,
let them.
Exactly. Let somebody else make that mistake. You are not that desperate.
No,
you are not.
Let someone else draft him.
All right,
now,
go.
Mine just reeks of desperation. It's horrible, but I'm going to go Trey Sermon. And I don't like it. You don't like it. But let's talk about it, okay? The almighty Trey Sermon did jack shit last year, and all we heard about was how shitty he was doing in practice last offseason. Like, it was unbelievable. It seems that this year, though, he's got his head a little bit more in the right spot, and he showed up yoked, according to Kyle Shanahan, and is doing all the right things now. So apparently he's out of the doghouse, kind of like Ayuk was. And pedigree is a real thing in the NFL. So all reports thus far that Mitchell is the RB1, and I do not question that. But we have seen in years past that any 49ers running back at any point can have value. So with Mitchell's injury history and Shanahan's running back usage, we could see Sermon emerge into a real asset in 2022. So like I said, it's absolute desperation, but there could be something here.
You're not wrong, but the problem is I think he's buried behind Jeff Wilson and probably even Tyrion Davis-Price. Trey Sermon did absolutely nothing last year.
I agree with you, but
he could be RB1. He could be RB1 immediately. Like, that's the other thing about Kyle Shanahan and his hatred for us, for fantasy football in total, the fantasy football gods, which is why their team was sucking at the beginning of last season because they were trying to curse Brandon Ayuk. This could be the exact same thing this year. They could just put him out there, and he could be the number one. Who knows?
I mean, his one more than 10 carry game was 19 carries for 89 yards. So, I mean, not a bad game, but we
haven't seen the best.
There isn't enough. There isn't enough yet. So
I'm just saying with the draft pedigree in the third round, they're going to use him this year. They have to. I mean, they're not just going to let him sit there and do
We
nothing,
hope.
But
We definitely hope. It wouldn't be like Kyle Shanahan to just waste draft picks, but he might.
Yeah.
So. Okay, guys, I am going to transport you to a CC's Pizza. For anybody out there that's from a different country, maybe doesn't know what CC's Pizza is, it's a pizza buffet where you walk in, you grab a tray, you get a plate, and then you kind of scour over the buffet looking for a piece of pizza. Well, my running back is Cordell Patterson. So in the CC's Pizza, you see the fresh pizzas being prepared behind the counter, but there's still those old pizzas that are kind of still out there hanging out, and you're like kind of questionable whether you should grab them or not. That is Cordell Patterson in a nutshell, because Cordell Patterson could be completely the best option that you have this year on Atlanta. He could do exactly what he did last year, end up as a running back 1, and just surprise the fantasy world that he could do it at 30 years old. Or he could be out by week 2, and Tyler Algier or Damian Williams could be the starter for the Atlanta Falcons. One of those two things is going to happen. And while eventually, you can see that the end of the road is coming for Cordell Patterson. They're going to pick up that pizza and they're going to toss it because it's been out there too long. That could happen to Cordell Patterson at any point this season. So for that reason, you got to be desperate to take Cordell Patterson, and it's just not going to be me.
Cordell and Cordell.
It's Cordero.
Cordero, whatever.
All right,
Cordero
real quick.
Patterson.
I just want to say, looking at these stats, it pisses me the fuck off. Because I drafted a lot of running backs last year who should have had these stats, and Cordero and Cordell had his stats. So it makes me just so angry. But like at the same time, good for him. But like, where did this come from? Looking at his stats back in the back, the most running yards he's ever had before the season was 230 yards, and that was a 1 touchdown season.
Yeah, it was the most fascinating fantasy.
It really
thing
was.
I have ever seen in my life.
It was.
That was nuts.
Carried Allen's terrible team. Yeah, I hope.
And I don't see him doing it again. But at the same time, just going into the season,
we didn't see it last year, and at least we have proof of it now. I don't know. It is desperation.
I'm telling you, it's literally the old pizza sitting on the buffet. You're gonna want to grab a slice because you can't get quite to the new stuff yet, but should you? That's the question.
Ironically, he's going before a lot of like rookie running backs that could have opportunities. So it's like, get that old pizza.
Exactly.